magicmud.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. The latest edition of The Lava Flow is next on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Get more at thelavaflow.com.
The taxpayers were the real losers of the Super Bowl, as they are every year. This year was particularly egregious, though. What's in the news with stories on government indoctrination center strip search, civilians killed by the U.S. again, cannabis news, a new arms race, death for a pot cookie, and death for defending a home. And an NCAP app segment on a new way to be charitable using cryptocurrency with Give Crypto. This episode is brought to you by Zencash, now known as Horizon, a cryptocurrency that infuses privacy, anonymity, and security done right. Also brought to you by SmartCash, an easy-to-use, fast, and secure cryptocurrency that supports everyday use for everyday transactions.
Welcome to The Lava Flow, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Find us at thelavaflow.com. Here's your host, Roger Paxton.
Thank you for joining me this week. From the state that has the 5th highest metro area for economic freedom in Manchester, this is the show that will bring you the people, places, and events that everyone in the Liberty Rebellion needs to know. You can catch me on Twitter at The Lava Flow Pod. This is episode 119, Taxpayers Super Bowled Over. And it's Tuesday, February 5th, 2018, when there have already been more than 56 people killed by police this year, and the United States stat clock shows us at more than $21,975,500 million in debt. What's wrestling my jimmies this week? You're about to find out. Let's do it to it. Arthur Blank, owner of the Atlanta Falcons, with his net worth of $4.6 billion, which he earned legitimately as co-founder of the Home Depot, got a super sweet deal for his new Mercedes-Benz Stadium, site of the 53rd Super Bowl this past weekend. The $1.6 billion stadium has already cost taxpayers $200 million, but that is just the beginning. Thanks to a sweet deal that Arthur Blank got from the city of Atlanta, Blank would get to convert this initial subsidy into a gift that keeps on giving. Any hotel tax money collected after the first $200 million would be put into a waterfall fund that the team could then use for future maintenance, operation, and improvement of the new stadium. Since those would normally be team costs, this meant Blank would get to stick taxpayers with the bills for future upgrades to his new playpen. Blank eventually acknowledged the present value of all this future money would be close to $700 million. Add in a handful of other goodies, $30 million in sales tax rebates on construction materials, $24 million in city-provided land, a pedestrian bridge that was supposed to cost $12 million but ended up coming in at almost twice that amount. And the final public tab could end up clearing $750 million. But, you might ask, this is good for the city and taxpayers, right? It's essentially an economic stimulus plan that will reap huge rewards for taxpayers, won't it? Certainly not. Numerous studies demonstrate that promises of economic development around stadiums rarely materialize. Tax revenues don't rise despite huge public.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your Liberty Beat for Monday, February 11th, 2019. Gold opened the day at $1,306. Silver opened at $15.69. And Bitcoin is trading around $3,600. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, as politicians and anti-gun rights activists continuously chant, "We don't want to take your guns," behind the scenes, politicians have been working overtime to limit the right to bear arms. The laws are all a reaction to the tragic shooting in Parkland, Florida. And according to the Free Thought Project, like most politicians do, they are not letting the tragedy go to waste. Since the tragic shooting in Florida last February, the Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence has recorded a whopping 55 new gun control measures in 26 states in just the first 6 months of the year. Some of the laws being passed are red flag laws, which are used to disarm individuals who are reported as a threat by a family member or friend. Many believe that the red flag laws are dangerous as they can prompt police action with little to no due process. As a recent report from Fox 32 points out, 9 states have passed laws over the past year, allowing police or household members to seek court orders requiring people deemed threatening to temporarily surrender their guns, bringing the total to 14. Several more are likely to follow in the months ahead. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at myBraveBotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% at checkout. Just use promo code SNLS. This is the Liberty Beat for Monday, February 11th, 2019. In an effort to encourage defections from Venezuela's elected President Nicolas Maduro, the Trump administration is reportedly holding secret talks with members of the Venezuelan military, as top U.S. cabinet officials continue to issue aggressive threats and push for regime change. That word comes from a report by the anti-media. According to Reuters, which cited an anonymous senior White House official, the U.S. is holding direct communications with members of Venezuela's military, urging them to abandon President Nicolas Maduro, and is also preparing new sanctions aimed at increasing pressure on him. As Common Dreams reported, opposition leader Juan Guaido's move to declare himself interim president, which was denounced by experts and activists as the beginnings of a possible coup, was highly coordinated with the Trump White House, which vowed ahead of time to back the opposition leader in his attempt to seize power. News that the Trump administration is holding direct talks with members of the Venezuelan military comes after Venezuelan government officials said they discovered a crate of weapons and ammunition delivered by a U.S.-based plane to an airport in the city of Valencia. A Republican state lawmaker in Arizona, who is disturbed about the proliferation of erotic images and videos online and their toxic effect on human behavior, has introduced a bill that would declare pornography a public health crisis. AZ Central reports the bill, first introduced by State Representative Michelle Udall, passed through the Arizona House Committee of Health and Human Services on Thursday, the first major obstacle in its path to a possible full vote. The bill has no legal ramifications, but states that porn perpetuates a sexually toxic environment that damages all areas of society. Udall's bill states the minors exposed to pornographic websites can develop low self-esteem, eating disorders, and an increase in problematic sexual activity at ever younger ages. The bill indicates that scientific research has shown pornography to be biologically addictive. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat on Monday, February 11th, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Today's fitness trackers can tell how far you're running, but tomorrow's can tell you why you're running. The new Nike Run Logic Plus pinpoints the desperate psychological demons at the root of your exercise routine. Tech Trends reporter Aaron Vaughn has more.
It's a problem all runners face. You run and you run and you run, but it's never enough. No matter how many miles you put in, that gnawing ache at your soul never goes away. Now Nike's engineers have found a way for runners to use that existential pain to push themselves even farther. Users keep the device on their wrist at all times. It not only records running times and distances, it also analyzes all of the user's social interactions and emotional patterns. It then creates a unique, detailed profile that dredges the inspiring well of inner turmoil inside every runner. Early users say they notice a big impact on their workout.
I started marathoning when I was 28. I thought it was time to get in shape, but then once I realized I was actually running from my meaningless job in ad sales, I started running a lot more, like all the time.
This is the Onion News Network. The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Computers are online. I'm gonna start loading software.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Call to Freedom.
Broadcasting live from Vertcoin Studios on LRN FM.
You're listening to Will.
You will listen to every damn word I have to say!
And Aria.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Stay tuned for political talk and everything crypto. That's right.
Broadcasting internationally on our Bit Plus Network satellite.
This is
The Call to Freedom.
All right, let's boot it up.
That's right. Welcome to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live from the Liberty Radio studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. And joined in the studio today, I have with me
Michael Hampton.
And Chris.
That's right. So Chris is coming to us from Think Penguin. And Michael, you do CryptoTip and
CryptoTip.org and
number of other
probably
things.
a few, lots of little small things.
Right on. So it is a interesting weekend because we weren't here yesterday of news this week. The Virginia blackface story is the gift that just keeps on giving because it went from like the governor to the actually black lieutenant governor being accused of sexual assault twice, to the attorney general now also coming out with blackface. I think there was another one as well that's also.
Yeah, it's practically it's so many people in Virginia that the Onion. I love their Onion response to this is like the janitor surprised to come in and find out he's governor.
Yeah. Well, the other one was all boomers admit that at one point they were blackface on Halloween. I think that was the Babylon Bee. They were like, all boomers finally admit they at one point were blackface on Halloween.
I don't know. I never wore blackface.
I never did, but I was at parties where it happened. Like we had lawns.
But you guys, you all right? So you live down south, though. So
did I.
Probably okay. So there we go. That's enough said.
But see, he was in East Tennessee and I was in Nashville.
So. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, right on. So, connections and all that, huh? Oh, yeah. Right on. When I worked at George's Alibi, we had this one cat that worked there who was older than us. He was in his late 40s, and this is like 2003. And he was from Augusta. And he spoke like he thought he was on the set of Gone with the Wind. So he's like this very swishy, older, middle-aged gay guy from Augusta who spoke like he was on the set of Gone with the Wind. And he decided that he would come as, what's the Mammy or whatever her name is, the black character on Gone with the Wind that looks like Aunt Jemima, all blacked up. And that was the costume that Lawrence wore. Lawrence, not Lawrence, Lawrence. I love the Augusta accent. I can't help it. But yeah, I think there was another time in high school somebody came blacked up for something. Somebody came as like Tupac or something like that. And they were all, because there was like 3 black kids in my whole entire high school. So, I mean, who are you really going to offend?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who's getting mad? There's 3 black kids at the high school, and they don't come to the high school dances. They just don't.
I never saw it. The high school I went to was kind of inner city. It had a lot of people bust in from
hell
from
no,
inner
you
city,
didn't see it. Those people, you want to live.
I didn't see blackface. I Did not see blackface.
You saw lots of black faces.
Right.
You didn't see no blackface. Yeah, exactly. I lived in a town where there was 3 families that were black, and they didn't even live inside the city. They lived like on the edge of town. So, and like we were a sundown town 4 years before I was born, or 2 years before I was born.
All right, okay. What does that mean? Sundown?
A sundown town?
Yep.
A sundown town is a town where minorities are not allowed to be found in town after sundown or 9 p.m., whichever came first.
Ah, gotcha.
And there was a sign that prominently stated it in a particularly derogatory fashion.
Wow.
And yeah, it's pretty insane. But yeah, the Virginia thing is the gift that keeps on giving. I've got a tweet here from a popular progressive. Says Democrat Rep Don Beyer says that the Attorney General Herring, who admitted to wearing blackface, should not be replaced because a Republican would then take his place. We would move from a progressive, very strong AG to someone who's not just a Republican, but someone who's on the arch conservative end of it.
So we can look past this whole blackface racist stuff as long as they're in our party.
Well, no. As long as they're in our party and doing anything about it means that a Republican will take their spot. Because see, if you get rid of, if the governor, because the governor is embroiled in this too, if the governor decides that he's going to step down, then you have the lieutenant governor, who is also a Democrat. But see, the problem is that the lieutenant governor is in the middle of a sex scandal right now. So you're going to hand him the crown, and then he's going to have to step down. And, like the meme said, they're going to give it to the janitor because that's all that's left. And that's the big thing is it's like normally, because in Florida, this happened too, about 2 weeks before the whole thing started in Virginia.
Wow.
I don't understand why people are surprised by any of this. These are photographs from the South in the 80s.
Yeah, you should not be surprised.
You should not be surprised. If you are surprised, let me help you out, okay? Let me give you, here's your homework, okay? It's a little cultural homework. Go home and look up Eddie Murphy's Delirious and watch that stand-up. And if you don't get it, find the other one. What's the other one from the 80s that he did? He did another one in the 80s. Find it and watch it. And if you still don't get it, then you're just too stupid to understand. Because Eddie Murphy pretty succinctly lays out how racist the 80s were. I know, I grew up in the 80s as the son of the only white girl who slept with black dudes in town. America was very racist in the 80s.
Is it Eddie Murphy Raw?
Yes, Raw. That was it. Eddie Murphy Raw. And I kicked him in the ding-ding and made the stars come out. Oh, my God.
What would we do without Google?
Yeah, I know. And my completely worthless mind filled with pop culture references.
You got more of those than I do.
I know the horrible joke that he told at the beginning of Raw, where they're like, Eddie, do something, make the people laugh, make your auntie laugh, and he tells a terrible joke, and the joke is about an elephant that pees on everybody, and because he says he can make it rain. And then the monkey tells the elephant, well, then I can make the stars come out. He says, how are you going to do that? He says, and he kicked him in the ding-ding.
Oh.
That'll make the stars come out.
It will. All right. So when we get back here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM, we're going to actually do our jobs and talk about stuff that's going on in the world today instead of pop culture references from 30 years ago. We've got this story.
What's going on in the world today.
It is. It really is. So when we get back here, we're going to continue on talking about the story of what's going on in Virginia and how, I guess, somehow criticizing AIPAC is worse than doing blackface.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.fm in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.fm. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
A civilian casualty is flattered to have been mistaken for a Hamas leader, and an asexually reproduced sea sponge is worried she's turning into herself. This news summary is best enjoyed in a state of leisurely repose, so sit back, relax, and let the waves of condensed news gently lap at your brain. This is the Onion Week in Review. Hoping to foster a lifelong connection to the airline, Delta announced the launch of its official alumni magazine, Flown, this week, a quarterly publication for people who have been passengers with the airline at some point in the past. A press release from Delta confirmed that the magazine will feature obituaries, wedding announcements, and profiles of prominent flyers that celebrate the shared experiences and interests of the airline's 900 million alumni.
I think it's a nice thing for Delta to do. I mean, it's always interesting to just skim through an issue, see what the old boarding group's up to. It kind of makes me nostalgic for the few hours back when I was on that flight to Tampa. Simpler days.
This is the Onion News Network.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
rocking at the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Broadcasting live from the Liberty Radio studio in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. It is a snowing outside. I'm telling you what, I called my wife and there wasn't nothing on the ground. And 30 minutes later, you couldn't drive. I mean, it was that fast. Just boom.
It was bad.
Quick.
It is bad.
It is bad.
It's getting worse.
Yeah, getting worse. And here we are on the radio.
We're
all going to be stuck here tonight.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right? As long as I can get down to the store to get something to drink in a little while, I'll be straight. I got shoes and a coat. So we've been talking about some of these different stories that have, in the last few days, they've really shown the Democrat Party to be what for who they are, which is a political party that has principles that they like to talk about, but in truth...
What principles?
Yeah, well, I mean, they have their own principles.
They change on like a dime.
Exactly. Exactly. So like when the AG of Florida came out and he had pictures that were of him in blackface, he resigned immediately. Republican in Florida resigned immediately. Here in Virginia, you've got 3 different politicians, a senator, an AG, and a governor, all caught with blackface. None of them are going to resign. Democrats. But it's the Republicans who are the racist ones.
Well, of course. Democrats can't be racist. They're Democrats, right?
Well, to me, here's how it is. The Democrat will say nice things to you, with you,
and then stab you behind the back.
Well, I mean, if that's what gets
Don't they all stab you behind that back, though? Like, I mean, that's just like standard operating procedure for politicians.
Exactly. The problem is minorities actually believe that the Democrats are on their side when
they never have been.
But they believe they are.
It's very true.
You know, when I criticized what's going on with this Ilhan Omar chick, where she came out and she was like, look, you know, people who take money from lobbyists are influenced by the money they get from lobbyists. She just happened to point out that this lobby group was AIPAC. And suddenly pointing out that politicians that get lobbied by lobbyists vote the way that the lobbyists lobby them is anti-Semitism somehow.
Yeah. How does that work?
Yeah, well, it's because AIPAC was the lobby group, so magically anti-Semitism. So the 3 Democrats caught doing blackface do not need to step down. The entire Democrat Party apparatus did not unite to make a statement against them, a unanimous statement against them. And they didn't unite against attacks from the opposite party on one of their own. No, they did that to the new Somali girl, the freshman congresswoman, former refugee, who said, well, when AIPAC gives politicians money, they tend to vote the way AIPAC wants them to.
And there's nothing false about that.
No, but it's anti-Semitic because it's saying that Jews rule the government. So that's anti-Semitism.
Is that really saying that, though?
Well, if you ask all the senators and congressmen and the Democrats, yes. Because they all got together and ganged up on this poor girl today.
So basically, that's like saying you can't criticize Israel because some people go too far.
No. You can't criticize Israel because any criticism of Israel is anti-Semitism.
Which is ridiculous.
Well, no, because if you criticize Israel, then you secretly are a Nazi and want to gas all the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, you either support everything ridiculous. Israel does and never acknowledge that groups like AIPAC exist, or you're Cantwell on toast with mayonnaise.
And this is why Cantwell gets on the air, and is able to spout stuff.
Exactly.
Because there are the exact opposing people to Cantwell also on the air.
Yeah.
And you have to somehow counter it.
Well, no, the people that oppose Cantwell are in the halls of Congress.
It's true.
The Cantwells are all on like radio shows like ours. You know, they're on small radio shows. Whereas the people who oppose Cantwell are all in Congress or in the Senate. Like Rand Paul. So Rand Paul in, I want to say 2011, says, you know what? America is still in the throes of a recession. We don't have the money to be borrowing billions of dollars from China so we can give it to the state of Israel or any other country. I think we should end all foreign aid to all countries. And 5 Democrat senators got together and pushed a resolution basically saying that Rand Paul was a secret Nazi who wanted to see another Holocaust.
What? What the hell?
You didn't hear about that? It was like Bernie Sanders.
No, I missed this one.
Oh, this was in 2011. It was like Bernie Sanders and the one who just lost to Rick Scott in Florida. I can't remember his name. Anyway, Ed Dean, I think is what it. Anyway, there's 5 Democrat senators got together and passed to push a resolution to condemn Rand. And boy, Rand was on the train soon, real quick. He was like, oh no, Israel's our greatest ally and we don't ever question anything. Hey, the Saudis, though, we need to stop sending stuff to the Saudis. It's like, look, bro. Tomato, man. Arab oppressor, Israeli oppressor. It's the same thing, man. It's the same sandbox. They're doing the same thing. They're killing their neighbors. Saudi's doing it to Yemen. Israel's doing it to Gaza and Palestine. But nobody seems to be up in arms about it. About either. The media doesn't really seem to give a damn either way. They're like the 2 unquestionable countries. You haven't noticed that. Saudis can come here, rape a girl that works for a hotel, and go home on the oops, I slipped, fell, and it went in defense. And people wonder why the public is pissed. Like, this is the kind of stuff that's the reason why Trump got elected. This kind of stuff right here.
Why? Why, though? It doesn't... Why? What? I don't get it. Why is there so much protection of Saudi Arabia? Why has this been going on so long?
Money.
Yeah, money.
Contracts.
And because you got the evangelicals, man. The evangelicals 110% believe that the second coming is built around Israel, and Saudi Arabia is the only Arab country who's like, yeah, we'll get on board with you guys. So, and Saudi Arabia props up the dollar with the petrodollar. So one country backs our money and the other country is wrapped up in the theology of 70% of the populace.
All right, back to oil then.
Right, back to oil then. Back to waging wars for oil then. All right, well, when we get back here, we're going to talk about AIPAC. And do they really put money to influence Congress?
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे।
Welcome back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live from the Liberty Radio studios here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. And the question that was brought up this week was, is it anti-Semitic to look at the Israel lobby and go, hey, you give money to politicians because you want them to vote the way you want them to vote? Well,
no, that's obvious.
Well, supposedly...
That's what lobbyists do.
Of course. Just acknowledging that this could happen is anti-Semitism.
Does this mean I have to come out as an anti-Semite?
But it turns out there's a lot of truth behind it. A debate about the power in Washington of pro-Israel lobby is underway after Representative Ilhan Omar, a Democrat from Minnesota, responded sharply to reports that Republican leader Kevin McCarthy was targeting both Omar and fellow Muslim rep Rashida Tlaib, a Democrat from Michigan. Omar quoted rap lyrics, "It's all about the Benjamins, baby," to suggest that McCarthy's move was driven by the lobby's prolific spending. Asked specifically who she was referring to, Omar responded, AIPAC. The debate over the influence of pro-Israel groups could be informed by an investigation by Al Jazeera in which it went undercover. An undercover reporter infiltrated the Israel Project, a Washington-based group, and secretly recorded conversations about political strategy and influence over a 6-month period in 2016. That investigation, however, never aired by the network, suppressed by pressure from The pro-Israel lobby. That's right. Al Jazeera. Yeah. Was like, no, we're not going to show this stuff that shows what Israel's doing to the American government, because Israel and the government of this was how the government of Qatar got back in the good graces. Remember how everybody was like, oh, Qatar's terrorists, blah, 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 yeah, and Saudi and everybody was attacking Qatar, and because Al Jazeera is owned by Qatar. It's a state-run media.
Right.
Israel lobby came to them, said, you need to shut this down. Qatar was like, well, we want back in the good graces. And that's what happened. They shut it down and Qatar got back in the good graces. It's like the mafia, man. It's like the mafia. And Netanyahu is the top don. And all the rest of them are just like these little, satellite families with their own little mafia kingdoms. And you kiss America's the ultimate, because we got the biggest guns. We're broke, and we're always shaking everybody else down for some money. We got bigger guns than all of them.
Yeah. What do you need money for when you got guns and you can just go get what you want?
Exactly.
Steal what you want.
Exactly.
And they do it to Americans, and they do it to people, everywhere pretty much.
Well, in November, Electronic Intifada obtained and published the 4-part series, but it did so during the week of midterm elections, and the documentary didn't get very much attention. In it, leaders of the pro-Israel lobby speak openly about how they use money to influence the political process in ways so blunt that if the comments were made by critics, they'd be charged with anti-Semitism. David Ox, the founder of Halev, which helps send young people to the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee's annual conference, described for Reporter how AIPAC and its donors organize fundraisers outside the official umbrella of the organization so that money doesn't show up on disclosures as coming specifically from AIPAC. He describes one group that organizes fundraisers in both Washington and D.C. This is the biggest ad hoc political group, definitely the wealthiest in D.C. Oakes says, adding that it has no official name, but it is clearly tied to AIPAC. It's the AIPAC group. It makes a difference. It really, really does. It's the best bang for your buck, and the networking is phenomenal. Ox and AIPAC did not immediately return requests for comment. Without spending money, Ox argues the pro-Israel lobby isn't able to enact its agenda. Congressmen and senators don't do anything unless you pressure them. They kick the can down the road unless you pressure them. And the only way you do that is with money, he explains. He describes a fundraiser for Anthony Brown, a Democrat running for Congress in Maryland, as typical. So we want the Jewish community to go face-to-face in this small environment, 50, 30, 40 people, and say, this is what's important to us. We want to make sure that if we give you money, you're going to enforce the Iran deal. That way, when they need something from him or her, like the Iran deal, they can quickly mobilize and say, we'll give you 30 grand. They actually impact, Ox tells the reporter. Such a claim is not so different from what Omar's describing, and for which she was resoundingly condemned. In the wake of her tweets, the Washington Post, for instance, reported, quote, the American Jewish Committee demands an apology, calling her suggestion that AIPAC is paying American politicians for their support demonstrably false and stunningly anti-Semitic. Monday, Omar apologized for her tweets, but still insisted that AIPAC and other lobby groups are harmful to U.S. politics. In the censored documentary, Oaks went on to describe a fundraiser hosted by Jeff Taupins, a hedge fund giant. As similar as well, in New York with Taupins, we don't ask a damn thing about the effing Palestinians. You know why? Because it's a tiny issue. It's a small, insignificant issue. The big issue is Iran. We want everything focused on Iran, Oaks says. What happens if Jeff meets with the congressman in the back room and tells them exactly what his goals are? And by the way, Jeff Taupins is worth $250 million. Basically, they hand him an envelope with 20 credit cards and say, you can swipe each of these cards for $1,000 each. Oakes explains that the club in New York required a minimum pledge of $10,000 to join and participate in such an event. It's a minimum commitment. Some people give a lot more than that. AIPAC, on its own website, recruits members to join its, quote, congressional club and commit to give at least $5,000 per election cycle. So, I mean, it's not like they're hiding it or anything.
No, that's pretty blatant.
Eric Gallagher, top official at AIPAC from 2010 to 2015, tells Al Jazeera reporters that AIPAC gets results. Getting $38 billion in security aid to Israel matters, which is what AIPAC just did. He notes that one secretly recorded lunch. Everything AIPAC does is focused on influencing Congress. The film called The Lobby, produced by Al Jazeera's investigative unit and features hidden camera footage obtained by the reporter, who posed as a Jewish pro-Israel activist from Britain who wanted to volunteer with the Israel Project. Outfitted with a luxury apartment in DuPont Circle, the reporter hosted multiple gatherings and otherwise socialized broadly within the pro-Israel community, winning the confidence of senior officials who then divulged insider information, many of which have been leaked and created very little international news. Isn't that just the way it goes, though? Like, $38 billion is, yeah, whatever.
Now, why do they see the need to hide this so badly that they will call people anti-Semitic for talking about it?
But they do it openly at the same time. Isn't it funny? They're totally open about what we're doing. It's like right here on our website. We have a congressional club. You have to give at least $5,000 to politicians to be able to be a part of it. We totally don't give money to politicians. That's anti-Semitic. What are you talking about? We'll be back with literal video, audio quotes of them admitting to the crimes.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
I just heard the best sales pitch I've heard in a long time on an airplane. The flight attendant announced, "If you paid more than $75 for your round-trip ticket, you overpaid." This is brilliant because everybody on the flight paid more, and I was struck by how all the road warriors stopped typing and reading and working and looked up. The announcement invited us to apply for the airline's credit card, and the sign-up bonus, enough frequent flyer miles for a free round trip. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade. With some banks offering free credit cards, $75 is an outrage for an annual fee, but a bar airline tickets. For more tips on communicating more effectively, hit survivalspeech.com, where you can see how I got the CEO of another major airline to shower me with freebies. I'm Holland Cook.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.fm.
Welcome back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting live to, all of you from the snowy spot here at the Liberty Radio Studio in Keene, New Hampshire. I'm sure if we open that up, it's still snowing out there.
It's going to be snowing for a while.
It's retarded. It's supposed to snow until sometime tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's crazy. Crazy. Gotta love the weather up here. Oh, wait, no. I hate the weather up here.
Don't we all?
Oh, it's not so bad.
Where are you from? The North Pole?
I'm from the Northeast, so it's not like I'm not used to it. I'm very much familiar with snow in the winter, and I know how to deal with it. And it's just I don't know. It's kind of nice sometimes when it snows.
I just wonder.
I can go without some of the really cold temperatures. I'll give you guys that, but I also don't get up that early, so I don't have to worry about that.
Right. We got some audio here of some of these conversations. They are.
You know why? Because it's a tiny issue. That's why. It's a small, insignificant issue. The big issue is Iran. We want everything focused on Iran.
Yeah, that's for David. Oh,
what happens is Jeff meets with the congressman in the back room, tells them exactly what his goals are. And by the way, Jeff Calkins is worth $250 million. Basically, they hand him an envelope with 20 credit cards and say, you can swipe each of these credit cards for $1,000 each.
There is a disclosure law that is designed to highlight whether there may be potential money laundering going on in events like this. And that is if the funds are earmarked. And that means the organization has to disclose who showed up at that event and how much each individual chipped in and what they handed over to the lawmaker.
What's the name of the group that puts this on?
It doesn't have a name. There's no name. It's an ad hoc political group. For all the legal reasons, people pool their money.
What this specific group is doing to try to avoid that disclosure requirement, it isn't taking money and then putting it in its own account and then handing it over to the office holder. It's just collecting credit card information and then turning that over directly to the candidate. Therefore, it's not violating the earmarking law, and they're not reporting this. All we would see on the campaign finance reports are the individuals who contributed, but there'd be no record on those campaign finance reports that they worked together as a bundling group, that they were all at this event. All we'd know is person A gave $2,700, person B gave $2,700, and we'd have no idea they're working in tandem with each other.
One in New York is 10 grand over 2 cycles. It's a minimum commitment. Some people give a lot more than that. Whatever your commitment is. So like if you give 5,000, you definitely ensure that I don't go over the 2,600. You know what I'm saying?
If one is at a meeting where person A wants to give 5,000, another person has only $100 to give, and that person gave 2,500 to the other person at that meeting as a gift, and they both therefore gave a total of 5,000, 5,100, would that be illegal?
That would be illegal. That would be laundering of campaign contributions. The limit applies to the individual. And so each individual is subject to that $2,700 limit. And if any individual goes over that limit, they are violating the contribution limit. They cannot legally do that by laundering money through other individuals.
But what they're saying is the Israeli lobbies are having these events that are they're AIPAC events, but they're not AIPAC events. So they're all like AIPAC members, but we're just going to have a wine tasting at Charlene's house this weekend. And while we're there,
bring your wallet.
We'll all bring our wallets and we'll pool our money, and everybody can give $2,500 each. And then we don't have to acknowledge that this is actually money that's coming from a political lobby group, because we're just exhausting our individual donation requirements to multiple candidates, because they do this for the Democrats and the Republicans. That's why they're the untouchable sacred cow, is because
they donate to both parties.
Yeah, they hedge their bets. They bet on every horse, except for the third parties, because the third parties don't win. Which is probably why the third parties are the only parties that are consistent in their position on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and Israel in general, is because they're the only ones not getting the campaign money.
Yeah.
If you give 5,000, you definitely ensure that I don't go over the 2,600. You know what I'm saying?
So he totally admitted that they launder.
During a cab journey across Washington, Tony's boss at the Israel Project, Eric, spoke about his former job as a fundraiser for Jeb Bush.
I was one of the first employees of the Bush campaign. The first time Trump came up in a conversation was we were going to solicit him for Jeb. And we were like, why isn't he writing a check? We would joke, like, this is the donor who went nuts.
Eric shares his concerns about Jeb Bush's campaign.
I hope the Justice Department doesn't make an example out of Bush, because we were operating in a real gray zone. And we raised enough money, we figured, let them come at us, we'll defend ourselves. We thought he's going to be the Republican nominee, everyone did at that stage.
A relatively small number of families supply hundreds of millions of dollars annually to lobby politicians.
The 200 families whose giving constitutes 90% of all political giving are not giving because they want a government contract or because it's good for their business. They're doing it because they actually care. In my view.
You heard that, right? So 90% of the money spent on lobbying is pro-Israel money. Oh my! Really?
Yeah.
But let's all talk about Russia. Let's just talk about Russia influencing the election. Russia. Oh, the memes. They got dank memes. It's all we can do. They are not outspending every other country in lobbying the United States Congress. And just an FYI, Saudi is second. they are. So you have Israel spending more money than any other government to lobby Congress. And to point that out is anti-Semitism, conspiracy theory, aluminum foil hat, protocols of the elders of Zion, the Jews are taking over the world. No, it's just acknowledging that there is a lobby group in this country that gives more money to lobby than anyone else. And that doesn't mean any of your crazy conspiracy, Julius Streicher, Der Stummer Toadstool ideas. No, it's just basic facts. No, they're numbers. They're these things. I know that the left and the right, they really hate them. You know, when it comes to immigration, the right hates real numbers. And when it comes to everything else, the left hates real numbers. And when it comes to Israel, they both hate real numbers.
You know what? Facts don't care about your feelings.
Exactly. Well, that's the problem with partisans, though, on both sides, is facts are always more important than feelings. I don't like those brown people coming to my country. Well, yeah, but they don't commit a quarter of the amount of crimes that the people that are born. I don't care. I feel unsafe because I am stupid.
They don't even give you a reason.
Yeah, they just
this is how dumb they are.
Yeah.
They're like they don't have any rational, logical.
They don't feel like they need
explanation or reason for their position on anything.
Well, they don't think they need one.
They don't, and you know they're partially right. They're partially right because it's emotional words I can't use, but garbage basically.
Yeah.
That's how politicians win elections. It's not based on logics and reason and facts and stuff like that.
Exactly. It's not at all. Not even a little bit. Well, when we get back here on the Cult of Freedom, it'll be time for the Crypto Hour. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be talking about, is your website possibly going to get a lawsuit?
Possibly.
Due to lack of ADA compliance? I don't know. We'll get into that when we get back.
Catch the Call to Freedom at its new time, weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. The Call to Freedom is the only live drive-home call-in show in the U.S. with a segment devoted to cryptocurrencies. Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium.com, live from Vertcoin Studios in New Hampshire. Learn about what makes cryptocurrencies so great and why you should care about them. Updates on new coins and ICOs, and warnings of scams. Plus, hear from traders, whales, developers, and big names in the crypto world. You can also win crypto coins or tokens every episode. Just listen for the faucet sound and be the 5th caller to get free Dash, Litecoin, Vertcoin, Verge, or other cryptocurrencies. The Call to Freedom with Will and Aria, featuring Crypto Hour. Broadcast internationally through our BitPlus network satellite. Weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. on LRN FM.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your Liberty Beat for Tuesday, February 12th, 2019. Gold opened today at $1,313. Silver opened at $15.74, and Bitcoin is trading around $3,581. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, just south of Tampa, Florida, students at the Manatee School for the Arts roam the hallways past an armed combat veteran who was constantly looking out for threats. The Mind Unleashed reports that by the end of February, another one will be manning a guard shack at the school's entrance. 39-year-old Harold Verdicia, a former infantryman in the U.S. Army, patrols the hallways of Manatee, strapped with a 9mm Glock 19X and a Kel-Tec bullpup rifle. That's according to a report in the Herald Tribune. To hire Verdicia and his new co-worker, the school took advantage of a law passed by Florida lawmakers in the wake of last February's shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, requiring all schools to have armed security. Most districts achieve that through a combination of school resource officers and guardians, and most just carry handguns. Principal Jones justifies the decision to arm Verdicia with a rifle, saying that it's, quote, just a much more effective weapon than the handgun is, end quote. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the Liberty Beat for Tuesday, February 12th, 2019. Find us online at snls.news and libertybeat.news. Your news now continues. The International Red Cross has declined to participate in Washington's controversial humanitarian aid plan to Venezuela. Mint Press News reports that the assistance, being coordinated by Venezuela's self-proclaimed president, Juan Guaido, and the U.S. Agency for International Development, is reportedly comprised of $20 million worth of medical, food, and personal hygiene supplies, which are currently being warehoused in the Colombian border city of Cucuta. The Venezuelan government has denied personnel entry into the country, claiming that the aid is being used as a cover for a foreign intervention to install Guaido. The Red Cross currently provides medical assistance to a number of Venezuelan hospitals under pre-existing and recently expanded international agreements with Maduro's government. ICRC President Peter Maurer recently told reporters the body will be doubling its budget to assist the Venezuelan government in countering the effects of the deep economic crisis. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, United States airstrikes killed at least 16 civilians, including 7 children, 8 women, and an elderly man in far eastern Syria. The anti-media reports the civilians were fleeing an ISIS-held village that U.S.-backed forces are attacking. It's the latest in a growing number of civilian deaths in U.S. strikes, coming amid the latest in a series of final offensive by the Kurdish forces against the last ISIS villages in Syria. The offensives have led to a stream of displaced civilians out of the areas. The civilians killed in the latest strikes were reportedly fleeing toward the Iraqi border. U.S. officials did not yet address the report, and it's rare for civilian deaths to officially end up on the Pentagon's tally. Antiwar.com says it's worth wondering if the strikes were deliberately intended to prevent civilians crossing into neighboring Iraq, or just attacking any groups of people scrambling out of the village. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. It's simple. Just send an email to libertybeat@SNLS News for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is found online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow reporting for the Liberty Beat on Tuesday, February 12th, 2019, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
The Subway restaurant chain has reacted with shock this week after executives discovered that many customers are apparently purchasing foot-long sandwiches and eating the entire 12 inches by themselves. A spokesperson for the company addressed reporters this morning.
This is not how our products are intended to be consumed. Our footlong subs have always been meant to be shared among 2 or more friends. Eating an entire foot of food shouldn't be possible for most people, but they've been doing it somehow, and it needs to stop.
To encourage healthier eating habits, Subway is clarifying its marketing, adjusting language on menus and in television commercials like this one.
$5 footlongs? Wow, that's $2.50 per person.
Subway's corporate leadership says they were horrified to learn of the misunderstanding.
It's frightening. I mean, you don't see people eating entire pizzas by themselves. We even cut the footlongs in half into 2 regular-sized sandwiches before handing them to you. But I guess that wasn't clear enough.
This is the Onion News Network.
The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Andros has again invaded the Lilat system. General Pepper has turned to a new Star Fox team, headed by Fox McCloud, to save Corneria and free the Lilat system once again.
Here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from a snowy day here in the Liberty Radio studio in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. Joined in the studio today by a couple tech guys. We've got Michael over here from Crypto Tip, among other things, and we've got from Liberty Penguin.
No,
we've got
Think Penguin.
Think Penguin.
Liberty Penguin was Daryl.
Sorry, from Think Penguin. From Think Penguin.
Yeah, thinkpenguin.com.
We've got Chris Wade. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing great.
I'm doing pretty good. I haven't been out in the snow, so
right.
I'm doing better than you two.
No, it wasn't so bad.
So now in the first hour,
just wait until later when we,
when we venture back out.
Yeah, we have to go back out in it.
You know what? I think I may do Taco Tuesday with you guys.
Oh, really?
Because my wife and kids are in Canada. I mean, what the hell else am I gonna do? I'm gonna go home and play Skyrim and pack boxes. You know, I mean,
sure. That sounds like a plan.
So yeah, I'll do I haven't done a Taco Tuesday with you guys since we moved here.
Did you do one before?
I did. The first week we got here, we did Taco Tuesday.
I don't remember this.
And that was it. We don't like their food is lame.
Yeah, well, talk to Josh.
It's like Mexican food it was food prepared next to someone who knew how to cook Mexican food. You know, it's like there was somebody who knew how to cook Mexican food in the room. They were just mute and blind and deaf.
Yeah, well,
it's like the LaCroix of Mexican food. You know, like LaCroix tastes like someone farted in a bottle after they ate a lemon.
As crazy as it sounds, I think everybody agrees with you who goes to the, that event, except for like one person.
Yeah.
And
I'm just gonna get some chips and dip probably because everything there tastes like water to me, and it's just like I lived 100 miles from the Texas-Mexican border. I know what this food is supposed to taste like.
It's pretty bad.
And you Puerto Ricans should stop cooking Mexican food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything in here is backwards. You have a Chinese family that cooks the Thai food. You have a Korean family that runs the the Japanese restaurant, and you have a Vietnamese family that runs the Chinese food restaurant. What? What is going on here?
Keene is weird like that. It's just,
and none of them know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's true. We do seem to have really bad food. Like we have variety, but it's all bad. At least in New Jersey, where I was from, where I moved from, there were Italians doing like Italian food and pizza and stuff like that, and it was good. I mean, maybe not every pizza place, but like, most of them were Italians, and so they knew how to make, a decent pizza. Come up here, it's like, nope, nobody knows how to make a good Italian pizza.
Well, in the first hour, we were talking about basically the last 6 days, the Democrats have gone out of their way to show that on every topic whatsoever, it's party before principle. Where, when the Republican got caught doing blackface in Florida, the AG immediately resigned. Gone. Don't even have a conversation about it. Now you've got 3 sitting members of the Virginia legislature. All of them have done blackface. We're not going to get rid of them because if they step down, a Republican will take their place. And it's more important to have a racist Democrat in office than it is to have a person from the opposite party who hasn't got pictures floating around with them dressed up and blacked up like Sambo.
That's how it is.
We moved on to talk about Ilhan Omar and how the entire Democrat apparatus did not unite against these guys who dressed up as Sambo. But in 24 hours, the entire Democrat apparatus united against one freshman senator from Minnesota, the first hijabi in Congress, who, economics-wise, I'm not a fan of hers, but at least she had the balls to stand up and take her stripes, so to speak, for speaking out against the Israel lobby. Now, we've got on the line with us, if he's still there, we've got Abu Zaid calling in from Oregon. You there, Abu Zaid? Hello?
Nope.
His light is still on, but he is gone. I guess I will have to have him call back. So while we're waiting on him to call back, we're going to move right along here. Pennsylvania is talking about slapping a 10% tax on violent video games.
That is ridiculous.
Just violent video games?
Now, but the video game industry itself says that this proposed law is fundamentally flawed. Let's see here. The Pennsylvania General Assembly is considering a bill that would slap a 10% tax on video games that are rated mature or adults only by the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, also known as the ESRB. Representative Christopher Quinn submitted House Bill 109 to the state's General Assembly on January the 28th with bipartisan support from Republican Ed Nielsen and Representative Carol Hill Evans. Okay, so
bipartisan support for
but who's what though? They don't mention who was from what party anyway.
Well, they never mention it when they're Democrats. They don't mention it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, revenue generated from the video game tax would be used to fund new safety measures in Pennsylvania's public schools. What? Speaking to NBC 10 in Philadelphia, Quinn said that violent video games are a factor in real-world violence, and a video game tax is going to help counteract their impact on society.
Oh, not that crap again.
This isn't even constitutional. It's a violation of free speech rights. It's the same thing that happened with various porn laws. You can't tax it. You can't censor it. You can't do anything with it. It's communication. It's speech. It's protected.
Well, this bill, it doesn't prohibit violent video games. It simply provides a revenue stream. It tries to recoup some of the societal costs to help make our schools safer by taxing an industry that has been shown to lead to violence. So basically what he's asserting here is that Call of Duty makes you want to shoot up your high school. And because of that, we need to add a tax to Call of Duty so that we can pay for the cops at the high school.
But it has not been shown. There have been no studies that actually shown that were actually credible.
Most likely, it's the exact opposite effect. There have been
studies have been shown to be credible, peer-reviewed, everything.
Yeah, there's studies on porn and legalizing it and and then outlawing it and then legalizing it again. And, there's very clear increases in rape and decreases in rape, depending on whether or not it was legalized or not. And it's the exact opposite of whatever assuming that you think that legalizing porn is going to increase rape and outlawing porn is going to decrease rape. It's the exact opposite. So it's probably going to be the same thing for violent video games, because it's an outlet for people who are angry, and they're going to express themselves through that outlet rather than actually going out there and committing violence.
Right.
Now, there's going to be the exception. There's always going to be that exception where, a few exceptions where people are going to go out there and do both, but that's not generally what the actual results are.
Well, it's always something that besides the parenting. Before
I don't know if it has anything to do with the parenting.
Before it was Ozzy Osbourne that was causing it.
Yeah,
it was Marilyn Manson that was causing it, and now it's just
people just need somebody to blame.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
Back into the Crypto Hour here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from the Liberty Radio studios. We've been talking about Pennsylvania and their dumb idea to slap a 10%. Well, I mean, it's a sin tax. It's a social costs tax on all not violent video games. Video games that are MA or for adults only. So that doesn't just mean violent video games. That could be like the bully video game is considered MA, and it's about fighting bullies. You know, so you can have racing games that have girls in outfits that are too skimpy and end up with MA ratings for racing games. I wouldn't be surprised if Need for Speed Hot Pursuit or Grand Theft Auto, something like this is going to be considered a part of this 10% tax.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. There is no significant social cost here. The social cost is what's imposed on all of us by these idiot politicians.
This is a tax. I'm sorry. It's a scheme. It's a theft scheme by politicians to take money from your pocket and to put it into some cause that probably is going into their pockets.
They want some money. They think it'll sound good. So there you go.
And they're using soccer moms. And they're using soccer moms to jump on.
And they're using it's an emotional issue, guys.
I want
and that's
my
what they're
kids
doing.
to spend more
they're
time
taking advantage
playing
of people.
with the family. I want them to spend less time on the video games. Ooh, we'll blame them for mass shootings. There we go. Yeah, I'm down. Yes, it's their fault. My kid should not be playing. Yes, yes. I've always thought this. Yes.
It's so ridiculous because we already know that this is not what causes mass shootings.
Nope.
But it is because I feel like it is.
The tax might. The tax might cause the mass shooting.
No, I
think we should get rid of taxes because if we get rid of taxes, there won't be any more mass shootings.
I feel like
I could get behind that.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
So, let's see here. What else have they got to say? Oh, yeah. As you might expect, the $43 billion video game industry has a little bit of a different perspective on the bill's premise that video games lead to real-world violence. And the game industry's main lobby group, there's that word again, is also arguing that video games are a form of protected speech under the U.S. Constitution.
There I said it. I predicted it.
Are the key issues that will determine whether Pennsylvania becomes the first state in the nation to tax video games. 8 of the 20 best-selling video games in 2018 were rated M by the ESRB. Mature games are rated for players 17 and older. The 2 best-selling games of 2018 were Red Dead Redemption 2 and Call of Duty Black Ops 4, both rated M. By contrast, only a handful of games receive an adults-only rating, which is usually reserved for sexually explicit content. Many retailers refuse to carry AO titles in stores, so game developers typically try to avoid that rating at all costs. The Entertainment Software Association, the lobbying group that oversees the ESRB ratings, stated that Pennsylvania's proposed video game tax is an unconstitutional violation of the First Amendment. The group argues that the tax singles out video games based on their content.
Yep. Content-based taxes are illegal.
What it is.
Violating the constitutional free speech rights of the game's publishers. While the ability to tax violent video games is not a matter of settled law, the game industry has one important U.S. Supreme Court decision in its favor. 2011, California law banning the sale of violent video games to children under the age of 18 was struck down in a decision by the Supreme Court. In its decision on Brown versus Entertainment Merchants Association, the court found that video game content was protected as free speech,
even selling to minors. So, and this is something that's important to remember, because free speech is not just protected for adults; it's protected for minors as well. There are prior cases in schools where that has been the Supreme Court has ruled yes. You don't lose your free speech rights just because you enter schoolhouse gates.
1984,
at least public schools.
Yeah, it was that case was in 1984. I cited that case in 1984 when I was in high school in a protest over what was allowed in the school dress code, and it said that you could wear religious iconography in keeping with what the school deemed as mainstream religions. And when I asked what that meant, they said, Christianity and Judaism, not even Islam at this point. This is like 1998. Wow. And I was like, oh, okay. So I organized a bunch of students to wear like whatever they could, Buddhists and Hindus and 666 and everything. And I got like 7 students suspended. But because I was 18, they wouldn't suspend me. It's like they had this mistaken feeling.
Yeah, that's not right.
Because I was grown, if they suspended me, I could do something about it. And the case is, no.
I've seen schools. That's not how it works. I've seen schools, try to punish kids who are like 18, and it's like you don't own the student, or I'm sorry, not punish the student, but require them to get parental permission to do something, even though they were already 18. Which I just think is absolutely ridiculous.
We had a young girl who started coming to our youth events at the mosque that I first became Muslim in. And when she decided that she wanted to start wearing hijab, she asked for a couple of what they call like sport hijabs, which is basically like it's just a tube, that you like throw on and take off. It's like made out of t-shirt material. You don't have to like wrap it in any way. Like my wives are, a lot of them are the real nice ones. She wraps those. Those are like really pretty scarves that they cost money. Whereas the little, they're just, you just throw it on, it's quick, right? And they told her she needed a permission slip from her parents to wear hijab in school.
That's not correct.
Because they didn't believe that she was allowed to convert. And I was like, wait, what?
It's irrelevant. It's a free speech issue. It's your parents don't have any say over or something that's a constitutional right.
Evidently in Florida public schools, they thought you did.
Oh, I know schools all across the country think they have all sorts of power that they don't, and they will enforce their power until you take them to court. Unfortunately, because kids are not allowed to work, generally speaking, in most cases, they can't actually raise the funds to actually bring a lawsuit in the first place because the courts cost money and filing and everything else. And
that's right.
And so the schools get away with it.
Justice costs money in America.
It does.
It does. We'll be back with more on the Pennsylvania efforts to tax video games when we get back here on the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you AMP Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm.
Here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from the Liberty Radio studios. We've got at least another inch of snow on the ground since we went on the air today. It's been coming down pretty hard.
It just goes to show how dedicated we are to the show.
For real.
Coming in.
Yeah, that was already like 2 or 3 inches on the ground.
Yeah, it was pretty bad already when we were out on the road prior to coming in here. So.
You guys are crazier than me. If it would have been me, I would have drove. I can't believe Aria went out because Aria's tires are like...
Yeah, you should really have you should keep your car in good condition if you're going to live up in the north.
Oh, I told her. I was like, your tires are bald. She's like, no, just that one. I was like, no, honey. All of them.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to drive one of those in the snow.
Yeah. I mean, at least a decent set of tires and learn how to like use your gears probably two good things to and drive slow, obviously, when it snows. Well, I guess it's not obvious to people from the South, but drive slow, okay, guys?
Right.
I'd like to stay alive on the road. And
so we've been talking here about Pennsylvania's got this idea. It's not the first time. We've heard discussions of this all the way back to Clinton and Tipper Gore. When they were the first ladies in the White House, when we first got these ratings with Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Mortal Kombat, inspiring because of the blood in Mortal Kombat, inspiring the ESRB rating system. That was the, Tipper Gore and Hillary Clinton wanted to get rid of video games. They wanted everything to be Donkey Kong forever. And the compromise they came to was the ESRB rating system. And now they're going to use the ESRB rating system to tax the video games.
Well, because, they need the money, and they're going to make an excuse about how it's for some nice social purpose because these games are...
Well, numerous authorities, including scientists, medical professionals, government agencies, and even the U.S. Supreme Court, have found that video games do not cause violence.
Shocker!
We encourage Pennsylvania legislators to work with us to raise awareness about parental controls and the ESRB video game rating system.
What do we even need the parental controls for if it doesn't cause violence?
Because that gives them a reason to exist and raise money. Which are... You notice how they brought it back to... and raise awareness.
I remember
the ESRB video game rating system.
I remember kids in the 90s, they would play violent video games all the time, and I don't remember a whole heck of a lot of shootings in the mid 90s. At a certain point there were some, but it
started my senior year in high school.
Yeah.
And it was Columbine. And
I remember Columbine, but I remember there was lots of kids playing violent video games prior to that. It's not the cause.
Tipper Gore and Hillary Clinton had already been trying to get rid of video games because of Mortal Kombat before that.
I remember this. Yeah. It's it's interesting. I don't remember there really being anybody at theaters enforcing you can't come in because it's an R-rated film. Even in the 90s and in the 80s. It was never an issue. And then in the late 90s. I noticed that the first time I was ever rejected from an R-rated film, I was 13. And I was in Boston, and I was like, what? What are you talking about? You won't let me in. And I just couldn't comprehend it. I'd been going to R-rated films for years, and it was I never had a problem. And all of a sudden, there's this theater that was and it was actually two theaters up here in the north that I had a problem with.
Pearl-clutching soccer mommery has basically gotten worse and worse. The helicopter mom culture has gotten more and more to the point where if you're not a helicopter mom, there's something wrong with you and you should have your children taken away from you.
That is the attitude, isn't it?
Yeah. Free range parenting is a thing now. It used to just be called
that was called normal
parenting. That was just parenting.
Yeah.
Now there's a word for it, and kids have buttons that they wear and don't mind me, I'm a free range kid and all this kind of
No, I've seen this stuff. I've seen actual buttons.
When I was 12 or when I was 9, my cousin and me, we would walk over to the park that was 6 blocks from my cousin's house. We would just walk over there. I didn't even live there. I'm in Indiana. I'm hundreds of miles from home, and we just showed up today. And I'm I want to go play. And my aunt's Scotty, take Billy and go to the park. And so, don't ever, so long as you live and breathe. And they take me to the park, and we'd go play at the park, and then we would just come back. It was just there was no
what's the big deal?
Who cares?
Yeah.
And now that will get your kids taken away.
It's just ridiculous.
Well, I think part of it's because, man, it's some badass kids out there these days. Parents don't want to deal with your badass kids. So if you can't deal with your badass kids, then we're going to take them and give them to somebody else that will. Because I'm sorry, kids wild out these days.
Yeah.
I knew better than to throw rocks at cars. My 5-year-old, no matter how many times you tell him not to, no matter how many times you punish him for it, every time you let him go outside without an adult, he's throwing rocks at cars. It don't matter what you do.
Well,
like
I mean,
talking to the
I don't know.
damn
Five is still kind of young, but certainly.
He's 8 though. What do you mean 5?
Oh, I thought you were talking about your 4 or 5 year old.
I'm talking about the 8-year-old.
Oh, wow.
He's been doing it since he was 5? Oh, my.
Yeah. If your kid's still doing it. I mean, look, just because there's some kids that you probably shouldn't let do certain things doesn't mean that every other kid should be punished for it.
That's the problem, though, is society. Our society is now built because of the whole everybody gets a trophy culture, that everything should be built for the lowest common denominator.
Yeah,
our entire education system and what do you call it? The testing system that we have to establish aptitude and whether or not you can graduate high school. It's like, if you can pass at a 9th grade level, we'll let you graduate 12th grade. That's literally what they say.
Yeah.
When I was in high school already, they were saying, here's a test. It's set between 8th and 9th grade levels, and if you pass it, then we will let you graduate. What? And you thought this was not going to have some kind of a negative effect on society as a whole over time.
Well, what's even sadder is then they let these kids into college, and of course they don't graduate college, but they let them into college, and all this money gets wasted on
loans.
And causes increased costs of tuition for the rest of us, because now there's more competition, and of course the more competition there is, and not sufficient demand, the increasing of prices occurs. So
the Gordon rule, have you guys ever heard of the Gordon rule?
No.
Okay, so in Florida, the schools are so bad in Florida.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Okay. That if you go,
I think everybody knows this.
Say you went to school in New Jersey, right? Or like, all right, so you grew up in Keene and you went to school here.
Okay.
Now,
schools here are pretty bad too.
If you went to Keene State College, you've
Public
never
schools.
been to a school in Florida. If you went to Keene State College, you'd just go to college, right? And that'd be it. Okay, but if you move to Florida and you go to UF, in Florida, you have to follow the Gordon rule. And because of the fact that Florida has the Gordon rule,
What's the Gordon rule?
you have to write more exam papers than you do in any other, to make sure that you know how to write at a college level. Because kids that leave high school in Florida can't write at a high school level, but they still get to graduate. State Board of Education Rule 6A-10-10.030. The Gordon Rule requires students complete with grade C or better 12 credits in designated courses in which students are required to demonstrate college-level writing skills through multiple assignments, and 6 credits of mathematics courses that work at college-level algebra or higher. And that these credits must be successfully completed grade C or better prior to the receipt of any AA degree and prior to entry into the upper division of a Florida public university. Students who have not earned this associate's degree must...
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for lrn.fm in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to lrn.fm. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
You're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
Welcome here to the final segment of this Monday. What day is it? Tuesday evening broadcast of the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. I didn't come in on Monday, so my brain is like, what day is it again? So, I know lots of our listeners out there. Y'all have run websites. I run a couple websites. You run a website. I run dozens of websites. Yeah. Ian runs we're broadcast on a dozen websites, at least. So we thought when I saw this that it might be worth taking a look at. It turns out that there are tons of businesses out there that are, they're just sitting ducks for lawsuits because their websites aren't ADA compliant. This story out of Tampa, a disabled plaintiff calls themselves activists working to improve society for the disabled one lawsuit at a time. Critics call it legal extortion, now targeting small business owners who feel they are sitting ducks for ADA lawsuits regarding their websites that are not accessible to some disabilities. Last year, there were 2,285 ADA website lawsuits filed in federal court across the nation, an increase of 181% from 2017. Somebody's turned this into a form of activism. According to the website accessibility company UsableNet, the majority of lawsuits originate in Florida and New York. The attorneys are telling us...
Does not surprise me.
Not at all.
It's one big fraud. Florida that's that if you want to become, learn the fraud, learn the business, go to Florida because that's where it's all happening.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 110%. Let's see here. Where do we go? Oh yeah, the attorneys are telling us you can't fight this. There's nothing you can do. Just write them a check, said Ben Tundis, owner of Island Comfort Footwear in the Westfield Countryside Mall in Clearwater. Tundis is one of 175 business owners sued by Emily Fuller of Broward County, a visually impaired woman holding businesses accountable if they have websites that aren't ADA compliant. Fuller, in her lawsuit filed January 4th, claims that she was not able to use the recently launched website of Tundlis's shoe store. Fuller uses a screen reader to use the internet and claims that the shoe store's website lacked coding that would communicate with her software. This excluded her from the shopping experience on the website, which is a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act, according to the lawsuit.
It's unconstitutional because this is a free speech issue.
Lawsuits like this one are being filed by the stackful, typically by one plaintiff working with a handful of lawyers who are gaining notoriety for these types of cases. South Florida attorney Paleo Duran and Roderick Hanna represent Fuller. Duran tells 8 on Your Side's Better Call Binnick that clients like Fuller are providing a needed service for society to ensure that websites are ADA compliant and accessible to all. It's a very good thing for society that plaintiffs like Miss Fuller are providing. Duran says, I want to make sure you understand that it's not about attacking small business.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's about extortion is what it is.
Yeah, it's about putting money in Duran's pocket and using this woman's disability as the way to get that done.
Yeah, it's a paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's a good thing. It's a good thing to try to make your websites, I don't want to say ADA compliant, but accessible. And I'm totally in support of that. But that's not what's going on here.
Fuller has gone after big names like Sephora, Helzberg Diamonds.
Who?
Sephora. Super expensive makeup company.
Okay.
Helzberg Diamonds, the Home Depot, Chick-fil-A, claiming that their websites are not ADA compliant. Some of her recent cases are against the Clearwater Shoe Store, an active wear boutique in Orlando called Sassy Pants, and Tampa Sports Service, Inc., the company that runs a store that sells Tampa Bay Lightning apparel inside of Amalie Arena. In most cases, private businesses can't be sued for damages under the ADA, says Anastasia Proto-Papadakis. ADA defense attorney with the Miami firm Gray Robinson. Businesses are sued for attorney's fees and compliance. Businesses who agree to settlements or lose their cases must pay attorney's fees and agree to become ADA compliant within a set amount of time. Some legal experts and even some advocates for the disabled say plaintiff lawyers are taking advantage of businesses that don't realize they're doing anything wrong. Instead of reaching out to them and simply saying, hey, could you be compliant?
What does that even mean, be compliant? Is there some legal definition of what compliant is?
Your website has to be available.
It's nebulous. It is. Okay, so here's the thing. There really isn't a standard for there really isn't a government standard for this.
So what does that mean?
There are web standards. There are web standards.
Well, right. I know, you have to add the little attribute for pictures to describe the pictures so that
the image alt text.
Right.
There's some other ones for scripted sites like the Aria stuff, but not Aria, but Aria. It's a technical thing. I'm not going to get into it, but there are actual web standards for doing accessible websites that do things like let screen readers navigate a menu, things like that. So a lot of old websites don't have these features. Like the website that was pictured in this news story looks like it was from like the late 90s, but a lot of these technical standards came about in the 2000s and 2010s. So all these old websites that haven't been updated probably don't conform to these standards and may or may not work with a screen reader.
Yeah, I know our website is probably okay with the screen reader because I've been told that by people who are blind. But
I know I go around the web and I'm a big antique fan, and I used to work in architectural antiques. And when you go to these websites, they look like they were built in 1997.
A lot of them probably were.
It's like this thing that they did when the internet first came out, and they were like, "Oh, we got to build a website."
And
now they have a
the hosting bill for 20 years.
Yeah, they just have a person that they like send pictures and prices to that changes things out for them every so often.
Yep.
Redoes the special and puts the Christmas video gif in when it's Christmas time.
There's a whole lot of that out there.
Yeah, it's just very, very generic kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and
basic.
These small, because they don't have the money for anything else.
Those sites might also be the ones that are best for ADA compliance, just because they're so simple.
Yeah.
They're just a bunch of links, probably, and text on a page, which is not going to be an issue for a screen reader. But yeah, like I know we're not compliant with all sorts of stuff, like especially in Europe, like laws where you have to pop up you have to pop up a cookie to say that it's okay for us to put a cookie on your computer.
Yeah, that's completely meta.
Check this out.
Yeah,
says that
ridiculous stuff.
Proto-Papadakis says that these lawsuits are corporate extortion, and they urge business owners to take a serious look at their websites and make sure that a person with visual or hearing disabilities can use them. She said most businesses that are faced with this type of lawsuit settle the case for attorney's fees and compliance. That's because it's cheaper than litigation. Experts say these lawsuits typically settled for between a couple $1,000s and $20,000, but could cost much more if defendants chose to fight in court. Any case appealed to the 11th Circuit has not gone the defendant's way, Proto-Papadakis says. Proto-Papadakis said that while plaintiffs don't receive money for damages, some do receive money in exchange for keeping settlement details confidential. Further frustrating businesses is there are no federal regulations that give them a checklist of what they have to do to make their websites ADA accessible.
See, you don't know exactly what you have to do.
So does this mean that
compliance?
Every time we release an audio stream, we have to have text for all of the words so that people who can't hear can know what's going on with the show? A transcript,
Who
yeah.
knows?
I mean,
could be.
That's how ridiculous this is.
All right. Well, when we get back here, we're going to have an update on a story we brought you a little before about when Backpage was gotten rid of. And after that, we're going to talk about a naked man who thought that he could bench press with his big Johnson dangling because, come on, man. No judgment here.
After excitedly posting an image of a Lamborghini Rebenton to his Facebook account earlier this afternoon, 38-year-old little boy Nick Weber talked to Onion reporters about his passion for fast cars.
When I saw that car, I was like, whoa, it was so cool. I had to show it to all my friends. I like red cars the best, but only ones that are really, really fast. I can't wait to get one when I'm older. I'm going to get the fastest car in the whole world.
The Weber also frequently posts about his other interests, which include motorcycles, fighter jets, and Marvel superhero Iron Man. The nearly 40-year-old small child confirmed that sports cars are his favorite, and the picture of the bright yellow Lamborghini has already garnered 15 likes and 9 comments from other enthused middle-aged children who are friends with Weber on the social networking site.
My best friend Bradley, he sent me a picture of a blue convertible that's so awesome. It has these big wheels and even has a racing stripe on it.
After watching several online videos of fast cars and eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch, the home-owning little tyke went to his room to take a nap.
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your Liberty Beat for Tuesday, February 12th, 2019. Gold opened today at $1,313. Silver opened at $15.74. And Bitcoin is trading around $3,581. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, just south of Tampa, Florida, students at the Manatee School for the Arts roam the hallways past an armed combat veteran who is constantly looking out for threats. The Mind Unleashed reports that by the end of February, another one will be manning a guard shack at the school's entrance. 39-year-old Harold Verdicia, a former infantryman in the U.S. Army, patrols the hallways of Manatee, strapped with a 9mm Glock 19X and a Kel-Tec bullpup rifle. That's according to a report in the Herald Tribune. To hire Verdicia and his new co-worker, the school took advantage of a law passed by Florida lawmakers in the wake of last February's shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, requiring all schools to have armed security. Most districts achieve that through a combination of school resource officers and guardians, and most just carry handguns. Principal Jones justifies the decision to arm Verdicia with a rifle, saying that it's, quote, just a much more effective weapon than the handgun is, end quote. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the Liberty Beat for Tuesday, February 12th, 2019. Find us online at snls.news and libertybeat.news. Your news now continues. The International Red Cross has declined to participate in Washington's controversial humanitarian aid plan to Venezuela. Mint Press News reports that the assistance, being coordinated by Venezuela's self-proclaimed president, Juan Guaido, and the U.S. Agency for International Development, is reportedly comprised of $20 million worth of medical, food, and personal hygiene supplies, which are currently being warehoused in the Colombian border city of Cucuta. The Venezuelan government has denied personnel entry into the country, claiming that the aid is being used as a cover for a foreign intervention to install Guaido. The Red Cross currently provides medical assistance to a number of Venezuelan hospitals under pre-existing and recently expanded international agreements with Maduro's government. ICRC President Peter Maurer recently told reporters the body will be doubling its budget to assist the Venezuelan government in countering the effects of the deep economic crisis. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, United States airstrikes killed at least 16 civilians, including 7 children, 8 women, and an elderly man in far eastern Syria. The anti-media reports the civilians were fleeing an ISIS-held village that U.S.-backed forces are attacking. It's the latest in a growing number of civilian deaths in U.S. strikes, coming amid the latest in a series of final offensive by the Kurdish forces against the last ISIS villages in Syria. The offensives have led to a stream of displaced civilians out of the areas. The civilians killed in the latest strikes were reportedly fleeing toward the Iraqi border. U.S. officials did not yet address the report, and it's rare for civilian deaths to officially end up on the Pentagon's tally. Antiwar.com says it's worth wondering if the strikes were deliberately intended to prevent civilians crossing into neighboring Iraq, or just attacking any groups of people scrambling out of the village. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. It's simple. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is found online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat on Tuesday, February 12th, 2019, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Everyone in a bustling Chinese parade is attempting to elude pursuers. Newly discovered cave paintings suggest early man was battling a lot of inner demons, and a xylophonist is shredding it. This Tuesday, FBI officials disclosed details of a disturbing al-Qaeda plot to just kick back, relax, and savor the inevitable collapse of the United States. Intelligence agencies confirmed the massive coordinated plan involves terrorist cells across the globe, training specifically to take a load off and unwind as America's political infighting, class divides, moral indolence, and environmental self-destruction gradually tear the nation apart.
Our righteous warriors will devote our time to relaxing and really soaking in the infidel self-destruction. America's cities will be reduced to ruins. The economy will come to a standstill. And we, the blessed of Islam, will kick back, put our feet up, and enjoy the show. It's going to be great.
This is the Onion News Network.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे।
LRN.FM, broadcasting live from a snowy night here in Keene, New Hampshire at the Liberty Radio Studios. In studio with me, I got Mike and Chris, easily the two techiest techs that we've got on the Tech show.
Well, I tried.
So. Yeah, I'll affirm that Michael is definitely in that group.
Well, we just finished our crypto hour, and it's time to move on to hour 3 on this Tuesday afternoon drive home broadcast of the Call to Freedom. If you want to call in for our next guest, give us a call at 603-283-6160 or hit us on the Discord line, discord.lrn.fm. We're joined by, well, he's an activist, he's an author, he writes for a number of magazines. Since joining the Libertarian Party in 2016, he's been active in the liberty movement through journalism and political activism, an editor, composer of fine art and electronic music, and a contributing editor and author for Being Libertarian's debut manifesto, Igniting Liberty, while also writing for Think Liberty, Antiwar.com, and the Libertarian Coalition. It's Luke W. Henderson. How you doing today, Luke?
Doing pretty good.
So tell us a little bit more about your background, Luke. You're here to talk about this book. What's some of your liberty? Why do we want to read a liberty book from Luke Henderson? What are your bona fides, my man?
Well, I'm fairly new to the libertarian movement. I honestly began as a Bernie Sanders supporter, but when he lost the California primary, I just lost all hope with him ever winning. And so I looked at Gary Johnson, and then I read his book, and that's kind of when I realized I was actually a libertarian, and I got into the movement. And I think what I really realized was the reason I was so drawn to Bernie Sanders was I just felt something was wrong with the government, something needed a big drastic change. But I was just following the most popular kind of cult leader at the time. As for my background, I just think I've been known to think outside the box and try to be really nuanced with my liberty issues. Like in the book, my contributions are, one is called The Case for a Libertarian Ethic, where I kind of argue that libertarianism doesn't need to just be a political philosophy. It also needs to be kind of a personal philosophy, because while, yes, the government is one of the biggest contributors to collectivism and taking away people's rights and just kind of forcing labels upon people, personal relationships and communities and businesses can do that as well. So I think it's really important as a libertarian to be, speaking out against any discriminatory business practices, even in the absence of a state, as well as just really, I think the overarching message of every sect of libertarianism is actually maximizing our freedom, even though we all say, it's that, we got to get rid of all hierarchy. To some people, some it's just, we just need to get rid of the state. Some it's just, we just need to minimize the state as much as possible. We all want the same thing if you kind of continue along that chain, which is maximum freedom for the maximum amount of people.
So now, igniting liberty, I like the idea, because I've worked in the international liberty community for about 7 years now. And you guys decided to highlight some of those international liberty voices.
Yeah, our editor-in-chief, Martin Van Staden, he's a part of the book, and he is a libertarian that's very active in South Africa, and he's been speaking out a lot about the kind of property being taken without compensation that's been happening there, and like how a libertarian solution would actually be better, as opposed to just taking away property from white landowners because of an oppressive history. And he's also been arguing about it in a way that way it doesn't really highlight necessarily that it's being taken away from white people, but that it's state overreach. And then our other writer who is international, Mamela Flor, she is Argentinian, and she's super active with the Cuban Libertarian Party and also with Mises Brazil, as well as a bunch of our South African affiliates. And then Adam Barsuk, who is our other editor, while he does live in the United States, his family actually, I believe, ran away from the Nazi Germany. I can't remember exactly which country his family, but he's got a lot of insight into that because it has been very important to his family. That's why they came to America. So yeah, we've gotten I think, balance of voices from everywhere.
I wish I had known
freedom issues outside the United States.
I wish I'd known that you guys were putting this together. I definitely would have put you in touch with like Ali Salman or Mustafa Akyol or from Turkey. Ali is from Pakistan, but he currently lives in Malaysia. There's quite a few liberty activists on that side of the world that I could have put you in touch with. You could have got some Afghan or Pakistan or Iranian voices.
Ooh. Yeah, that would have been great. The book took an interesting kind of turn. Originally, it was just going to be a collection of essays just from being libertarians writers. But then as we tried to coordinate everything, we got less and less people interested. And so then it kind of just grew into, these are the people who are interested. And it just happened to be that they were people who were from not in the United States. And so we had a variety of voices. So I don't think it was an intent in the beginning, but now that's kind of been the marketing for it. And I think that's what made it a more unique book.
Yeah.
I think definitely in a second edition, we'd love to reach out to other writers to get them involved.
Works for me.
You guys are good. You got nothing for me, huh?
I'm in catch-up mode here because I have not heard of this book before. So
So why don't you give us the name of the book again?
It's called Igniting Liberty: Voices for Freedom from Around the World.
How long ago did it come out?
It officially was launched last Thursday, but it was released on Amazon the Tuesday before.
Yeah.
So brand new.
Just came out. That's why we've got him on, is so
totally
he can promote
new.
the book. Yeah. We've got him on because I wanted to give him an opportunity to share I think it's a great idea to bring together liberty writers from all over the world. The next one needs to be from places where things are not good right now. So like a Venezuelan writer.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Right.
Yeah, having some sort of oppressive,
an Afghan libertarian, Iranian libertarian.
Yeah. Anybody from an oppressive region of the world. Yeah.
Yep.
Including the United States.
Sometimes they'll be writing under pseudonyms because I've got friends of mine. I can't even get them to come on the radio show. You know,
I believe
they won't
it.
even come on the show. They won't even come on the air.
No, that's definitely possible for future. Like I said, Mamela, she's really involved with the South American liberty movements, and I think she might have helped start the Venezuelan Libertarian Party, if I'm not mistaken.
We met some folks from there. Let's see here. I was in Gainesville at the University of Florida at a Students for Liberty conference, a state or regional conference, Southeast Regional Conference at the University of Florida, and I met a guy from the Venezuelan libertarian community there.
This was last year?
That's what I thought.
This past year.
Like September, I think. September,
I remember when you went to that.
Yeah. And that was pretty cool, meeting him. I'm just a big, tall guy. He's like, socialism is bad, yo.
We all know this.
Yeah. Preaching to the choir.
Yeah. I got him to talk about crypto because he didn't really bring that up in his discussion. And I was like, so what about what's going on there with Dash and blah, 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 blah. He's like, oh, it's good that you bring that up. All right. Well, when we get back here on the Call to Freedom in just a moment, we're going to have more with Luke Henderson and his book, Igniting Liberty. We'll be discussing these international voices of liberty. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Call to Freedom right after this.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.FM.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos. Out in the street, tacos, all you can eat, lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos, yum, 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 yum.
All right, happy Taco Tuesday out there to all you folks. Rocking back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We've been joined today by Luke Henderson, who's an author, writes for a number of libertarian publications, and he's also been involved in a new book that's come out called Igniting Liberty. It's a discussion of liberty in a number of essays by international liberty community writers. The book just came out last week, and we've had him on today to kind of tell us a little bit about the book itself, what it's about, and what his involvement is in the book. Welcome back to the show, Luke.
Thank you.
And so you were going to tell us a little bit about your personal involvement in the book.
Yeah, so I wrote 4 essays for this book. One I kind of talked about a little bit, being called The Case for a Libertarian Ethic. Another one I wrote was called America's Worst Fitness Coach, which was inspired by a book on economics I wrote called An Economist Gets Lunch. And it kind of explores how prohibition in the 1920s really changed the American diet, and then how there's a lot of other government sponsorship of science and things like that that I think ultimately contributed to what now is the obesity epidemic. Because when people can no longer drink alcohol, the big thing was they had to kind of switch one vice for the other. And so when that happened, soda fountains kind of exploded. And
it's true.
So
Yeah, you
soda
got a
fountains
point
sold, shakes and hamburgers, everything you think now of just kind of being the all-American diet.
Oh, yeah. That's true. And in Europe, they still drink a lot of alcohol, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah. In high school, I went to Germany for a trip. And yeah, the family that sponsored me, mom had a beer with orange juice every day for breakfast.
Yeah. I was there just last week, and I can say it's definitely a cultural difference between
They were
the
not
US.
in the same glass, though, right?
No, they were in the same glass. She mixed it.
I thought that's what he meant too.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I've never tried that.
The Europeans drink alcohol like they drink water, or like we drink water.
Not entirely sure what to make of that.
And there's a German drink that's pretty common called a Radler. That's beer and lemonade. That's pretty good.
All right.
But then
I know where I'm going on vacation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Germany's a fun time.
Never been.
But then I guess my next contribution was I'm kind of known in libertarian circles, I guess, nowadays as the IP guy, because I constantly talk about intellectual property and how I think it needs to be abolished.
Nice.
Well, you're not the only one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a common topic.
You're far from the only one.
You're amongst supporters here.
Yeah.
Good.
Pretty
I'm
much
glad.
every
'cause
show.
It seems to be only the classical liberals that really like challenge me on that, and they get really upset at me when I tell them that their ideas aren't property.
They're the fake libertarians.
Yeah, I read Stephen Kinsella's book, and that's where originally I got, it's like, oh yeah, this makes sense.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
I've just kind of spiraled because I'm a musician by trade, so I've kind of applied it to my own dealings with copyrights and performance rights organizations, and just licensing laws too, just are ridiculous.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
like
yeah.
copyleft because it's basically a hack on copyright to do what copy was originally intended to do, but it's not libertarian. It's sort of libertarian in a sense, but it's not like it's. I would support getting rid of copyright altogether, but until it's eliminated, I support copyleft. It's kind of you know what I mean? It's like it basically defends your ability to do what you want to do. While keeping the people who are pro copyright like off your back.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of why I like Elon Musk, because he does a lot of open source stuff, kind of in the same vein where it's like, I own this technically, but I'll let you all use it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think copyleft would go away with the elimination of copyright, in at least from a how do I say it, more of a moral perspective. Just because it's more of a philosophy than it is a enshrouded in law. I mean, yes, it's enshrouded in law. It's built off law, but it's a hack on the law because the law exists. Without the law, it's just we would just be doing it naturally.
Oh yeah, no, all these debates I have with people on this usually always boil down to just discussing what is property, which is just, it's a debate the common American or the common voter's not going to have. They don't really care.
Yeah, copyright's basically an artificial it's an artificial construct that was invented to funnel money into people's pockets, and it's not. I don't personally object to somebody asking to tip, and personally that's what I do. When I create content, I ask people to tip, leave a tip. And and there's other means of and I actually I'm heavily involved in copyleft software, and everything my company produces, we release the code for, and we sponsor all sorts of projects that do the same thing, and we profit. We make profit. It's not like we're not making money. We're in it for the money, to a large degree too, but you don't need to have copyright in order to make the money off of it. And we don't try to prevent other people from using the software that we develop or anything like that. It's others can use it too. It's mutually beneficial when there's multiple people working on something. And so you just find ways around it, or whether it's advertising, or it's you're selling a piece of hardware with it, or you're selling t-shirts, or you're asking for people to tip you. I mean, there's so many different ways to kind of profit off of your your work. You don't necessarily have to go down that route of, we're going to steal from you, we're going to use violence against you in order to extract funds from you if you don't pay us.
All right, Luke, tell us about where we can get our hands on your book, and where we can contribute to your work.
Well, right now the book's available on Amazon for paperback for $19.99, a Kindle for $5.99, or Kindle Unlimited for free if you do have a Prime account. So you just type in Igniting Liberty on the search bar at Amazon. If you want to follow the book and updates on how it's doing, go to Facebook and like the Igniting Liberty page. We don't currently have a website. And for me, you can follow my writings on Being Libertarian, the Libertarian Coalition page, or on my own personal page, which is Luke Henderson, author and journalist.
Very cool, very cool. Well, this has been Luke Henderson with us, one of the authors of Igniting Liberty, a collection of essays from international liberty authors.
Yep, I'll be checking that out. I've got the Kindle Unlimited, so I'll be picking that up.
Thanks for joining us today, Luke. It's been a pleasure having you with us, and we'd be happy to have you back on anytime you get a chance.
Oh, I would love to. Thanks, Will.
Thank you. So this is Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be talking when we get back. A naked man arrested at the gym.
No.
We'll tell you why when we get back here on the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Never, ever send a follow-up email asking, "Did you get my email?" Email 101. If it didn't bounce back undeliverable, it got where you sent it. And avoid transmedia pestering, like calling to ask, "Did you get my email?" or emailing to say, "I left you a voicemail." If your emails and voicemails aren't being acknowledged, your problem isn't technology, it's technique. Is your message concise and understandable? Have you boiled it down to seem as relevant as possible to the recipient? In other words, is it the opposite of spam or junk mail? All of this really matters if you're a job seeker. But even if you're not, with money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom live on LRN.fm. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.fm.
Look at that, look at that. Look at that, look at that. And he ain't wearing no clothes. Well, yes, they call him the street. Fastest thing on 2 feet. He's just as proud as he can be of his anatomy. He gon' give us a peek. Well, yes, they call him the street. Like to show off his physique.
Welcome back to the Call to Freedom.
There's an audience to be found.
one of my favorite videos from a kid.
Hello once again, everyone. Your Action News report.
Yeah, this is the streak. So, welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Yeah, it did. I grew up watching this as a kid. We'd go to my aunt's house in Indiana, and she had it on video. She had a whole video of these Ray Stevens music videos, and it's basically all his crazy songs but acted out. So like the squirrel, the Mississippi Squirrel Revival, you actually see the squirrel running around the revival and all the people going crazy because the squirrel's running up people's legs and stuff, because a squirrel inside is actually kind of funny. It's a terrifying thing when it's happening, but when you think about it later, it's funny.
I suppose it's funny when you're watching it on TV.
When you see the 300-pound woman jump over the church pew, it's funny when you're talking about it. Well, we got a naked man arrested at Planet Fitness. He's told police that he thought the gym was a judgment-free zone.
Oh, it is.
This in Plainstow, New Hampshire. A Massachusetts man, wouldn't you know, arrested after police said he stripped down inside of Planet Fitness in Plainstow. Police said Eric Stagno, age 34, of Haverhill, Massachusetts, walked into the gym and removed his clothing, walked back and forth a couple times before settling in on the yoga mats.
So what was he doing on the yoga mats? Just yoga?
Do we even want to know? Oh, awesome. The best part, WCVB and WMUR have a story. Oh,
wait, so where was this going on? Where did this happen?
This happened in New Hampshire, in Plaistow, nice. New Hampshire.
Why does this guy come all the way up to New Hampshire? Isn't there a Planet Fitness closer to his house?
Wait a minute. So was this somebody who actually came up to New Hampshire to do this, or is this somebody who was in New Hampshire?
He's from like Haverhill, Mass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Says that when officers arrived, they found him completely nude in, quote, a yoga position. Stagno, arrested without incident, charged with indecent exposure, lewdness, and disorderly conduct.
Nobody.
Yeah. Police said that the only statement Stagno made was that he thought Planet Fitness was a judgment-free zone, apparently referencing the chain's slogan.
Well, that's not exactly what they mean.
Come on, it's funny.
Oh, it is.
It is very funny.
It is a judgment-free zone.
All right, now we did promise you earlier an update on an earlier story that we covered for you guys. Now, this is an actual news story. We're going to get a chance to listen to it. It's about 3 minutes long. This is coming out of San Francisco. We were talking about what happened with Backpage and what was going to happen with Backpage.
And I guess it happened, right?
Yes, it did.
I'm shocked.
According to the latest police statistics.
But Susie Steimel discovered one major crime category that is bucking the trend. Susie?
Well, Ken and Liz, police recorded a 170% jump in reports of human trafficking in San Francisco last year. But we're learning that huge spike appears to be connected to the federal shutdown of sex-for-sale websites. The goal of this law was to curb human trafficking, but it seems to be having the opposite effect.
They're hardly hiding in the shadows. Every Friday night, Shotwell Street in San Francisco's Mission District is lined with prostitutes and their pimps. Until April of last year, sex workers say they had a much safer alternative. Websites like Backpage.com, where they could find clients as easily as swiping right on a dating app. But after Backpage was linked to sex trafficking of underage girls, lawmakers in Washington voted almost unanimously to make it illegal to advertise for sex work online.
So all these sites disappeared. Literally in a matter of a couple of days.
Longtime sex worker Maxine Dugan says Backpage.com took prostitution out of the dark ages.
They could provide a reference, you could reach out to them, you could get verification on, if this customer was a good customer or not, if they were a safe customer.
Now she says the new laws, known by their abbreviations, FOSTA and SESTA, are forcing sex workers back onto the street and into the hands of pimps.
I, like everybody else, received a whole bunch of text from various nefarious people who, wanted to help me with my business.
It's actually suddenly re-empowered this whole underclass of pimps and exploiters.
Pike Long with the outreach group St. James Infirmary estimates the number of street-based sex workers has tripled.
If you're a street-based sex worker, it's much, much harder to negotiate your rates, to negotiate safer sex, condom use, to make sure that this person who's picking you up in a car doesn't have a knife or a gun.
It's not just sex workers whose lives are in danger on Shotwell Street. People who live and work here say the violence has gotten out of control.
Really what our concerns are the Johns and the pimps.
We met up with several Shotwell Street neighbors recently.
I don't think any of us in the neighborhood are anti-sex work at all. This isn't some kind of puritanical, crusade. We're anti-bullets coming through our apartments.
We've had recently sex workers performing their trade in our front yard under my daughter's window.
Even when I was pregnant, I was propositioned just because I was walking down the street.
I do get emails, I do get phone calls saying, it's really crazy.
In response, Mission Station Police Captain Gaetano Caltagirone created a sex workers abatement unit. He says they're actually trying not to arrest sex workers.
The goal of the unit is to help out any sex worker that's out there that is being forced or wants to be out of there, but also to go after the pimps who are exploiting these young ladies out there. And that's not right.
But sex workers just see the abatement unit as harassment. They want Backpage to come back.
The vast, vast majority of people who utilize those websites were doing so because that was how they chose to make a living. It doesn't mean that it's everybody's dream job, and we're not trying to glamorize it and say that it is. But that venue was taken away without their consent.
So several human rights organizations and an advocate for sex workers are now suing the government to overturn those FOSTA and SESTA laws, calling them unconstitutional for violating free speech rights. We will have a story on that in the coming weeks. Ken?
Not to mention basic
Susie,
human rights.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a no-duh situation, and nobody wanted this law to begin with, but every politician felt that like they had to support it. It's the same thing with those child protection laws online where they tried to ban porn or something like that in the 90s, which they passed again and again and again, and every single time it was overturned by the Supreme Court.
Yep. That's how it goes.
So there were people who wanted it, people who believed that it was going to solve all these problems.
Who?
Who
were actually supporting this? Who was actually supporting this
for it? There were people out there advocating that this was going to solve the problem. It was going to fix everything.
There's no way anybody with a functioning brain would think that it would solve the problem.
Political partisans. I thought you understood how this works. That you can't be a political partisan and have a functioning brain. Those two things are mutually exclusive to one another. If you had a functioning brain, you wouldn't be a devoted political partisan.
Well, it seemed to me like everybody was against it. But
that's because the circles that we run in.
I know. But it wasn't just like us. It was like, like Google and like Backpage and what's the other big one? Craigslist. And
yeah.
I mean, like everybody seemed to be against it. And they still passed it.
Yeah. Because they didn't want to be seen as being against a bill that will slow down, supposedly, trafficking.
Well, they were warned that this bill would increase trafficking if they passed it.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
they
absolutely ignored it. All the sex workers were against it. I mean,
we'll be back.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Free Talk Live.
It's obvious the government expects people to pay taxes, whether or not they have a law.
They are a band of marauders. They're a violent band of thugs, and in my opinion, they're a group of strangers. I mean, if I all of a sudden wrote up an invoice for you, Robert, and sent it to your house saying, you owe Free Talk Live $5,000 this year, or if you don't pay us, we're going to send some people after you to punch your face in. Would you cut me a check? I mean, because that's essentially what they're doing. That's essentially what the IRS does. They write a bunch of strangers, people they don't know, an invoice, and they include a bunch of obscure instructions that you're supposed to understand. And then at the very bottom, it says, if you don't follow these instructions to the T, we are going to charge you with a criminal offense and throw you in the clink. This is a threat. And I don't take kindly to threats. I don't know about you.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm.
Let's focus our discussion first on marijuana, okay? Marijuana has a very distinct smell, okay? I'm going to pass around just a little tiny bit, and I want you all to take a smell so you know when someone is smoking marijuana near you.
Welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. It is our cannabis news segment today. It's a beautiful day here in the Shire. That good old New England weather where, you know, the snow falls straight down a little bit to the side. So it is your only libertarian home for discussion of I hate when the Discord chat gets going and you have people that don't want to talk about what we're actually talking about on air. They want to come in and create their own topic.
Well, you know what they need to do is go into one of those Discord call-in lines there.
Just call the show. We've told this guy dozens of times. Just call the show. I don't want to call the show. I want to harass you in the chat instead.
I don't pay attention to the chat during the show.
Right.
I'm not even on Discord, so.
Right. So, you heard the story about looping. Have you heard about this? Some kids in Colorado, they run this place, and they say Sweet Leaf, and now they're going to jail for a practice that's called looping. Now, the practice is when a customer buys the maximum amount of cannabis permitted by Colorado law and then returns the same day to purchase more.
Okay.
The case, which also destroyed a well-known retail brand and cost dozens of employees their jobs, has become a well-known cautionary tale in the national cannabis industry. But were the tough sentences deserved, and what do they tell us about future state enforcement of cannabis laws?
Okay, so what happened here? A person goes into the dispensary, buys all the cannabis they're legally allowed to buy that day, walks out, then walks back in and buys more, and the dispensary gets in trouble.
Yes.
Not the person who was buying. Okay.
Yes.
How does this make sense?
It seems ridiculous either way.
Well, first off, how in a scenario where cannabis is supposedly legalized, is there a possession limit in the first place? How is there a limit on how much you can have, how much you can buy, how much you can grow? I mean, we don't have these limits on alcohol. I can go to the liquor store down here and buy the whole store if it'll charge on my credit card, you know? It doesn't make sense.
Well, because pot is the special thing. You know,
okay. So
there's special things.
Oh, so the legislators are having reefer madness.
I mean, all right. So clearly, the amount of pot you can buy is more than a day's supply worth. If you go in every day, what difference does it make whether you buy more up front or you go in every day and buy it?
Because you might be able to give it to someone else who will take it somewhere else and sell it. But the problem is...
But what difference does it make if you can go in and legally buy it anyway?
Well, the problem with that argument is the fact that the black market is cheaper than the...
But it wouldn't be if you're buying it from the legit market and then reselling it. The stuff that's coming from the black market isn't coming from the dispensaries, right? Because that's more expensive than the black market pot, right? So this doesn't add up still.
Yeah, something else has to be going on here.
Monopolies? They're trying to create monopolies or duopolies or, something along those lines.
That's what we've seen in all these states.
Tunnel the money into particular, politicians' pockets, their friends' pockets, things like that.
Yeah, that's usually the way that it is.
I mean, that's why these types of laws generally go into place. And it's often the case that companies actually are in favor of and sponsor the legislation that will make it harder to operate within their own market because it creates barriers for other companies entering that market. Therefore, they can increase their prices and, charge more or whatnot.
Okay.
On January 25th, the office of the Denver District Attorney Beth McCann announced a plea deal with the three owners of the Sweet Leaf dispensaries, Christian Johnson, Matthew Aiken, and Anthony Sorrow, in return for guilty pleas to violating the state's Organized Crime Control Act. Wow.
What?
And to illegally selling and distributing marijuana. The three men each received a 1-year prison sentence to be followed by a year of parole. And all Sweet Leaf dispensaries in Denver were shut down. The sentence came after an investigation that began over a year ago and ended up involving several Colorado state agencies. State officials claimed that the Sweet Leaf dispensaries were violating state law by allowing consumers to illegally make multiple purchases during the course of a day. Technically, nobody bought more than an ounce at a time. Douglas Berman, a law professor at Ohio State's Moritz College of Law, a long-time observer of marijuana policy, told Leafly, they just kept coming in again and again, and it seemed like the operators of the dispensary were perfectly comfortable with evading the spirit of the law, even though they claimed they didn't violate the letter of the law.
Wait, if they didn't violate the letter of the law, then
they violated the spirit of the law.
No, that's not how it works. The way it's supposed to work is that you have to violate the letter of the law. It doesn't. Oh my God. Continue with the story.
Yeah, let's hear the rest of this.
All right, so Let's see here. Basically, the spirit of the law is that they only want people to be able to get 1 ounce of marijuana a day. So if you let someone come back in and buy it again later, the law is that you can't buy more than 1 ounce at a time, not in a day.
Okay.
But the reason that it's at a time is because they don't want you to have more than that in a day. Because you might take it and sell it somewhere else on the black market. The problem is nobody pays as much black market except for like rural towns in like BFE, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Colorado, all you states that have legal marijuana, the black market is just kicking the crap out of you as far as prices is concerned.
Pretty much.
This whole like, well, we can't let people buy it or they'll take it somewhere else. No, nobody is doing that, guy. Nobody's doing that. People are buying it in Colorado, but they're buying it directly from the farmers. They're not buying it in a dispensary and then transporting it to, they're doing that with edibles. They're doing that with like oil pins and stuff. They're not doing that with flour. I'm sorry. It's just not cost effective. It stinks your car up. You got to drive 1,000 miles with your car smelling like a skunk's ass. I mean, nobody's doing this. And if they are, they're getting busted.
Yeah.
Quick. So I don't understand. Like, nobody is doing this. No one is buying weed at a dispensary, 6 ounces of weed at a dispensary and going to college and going back to 2 states away and selling it on the black. It's not happening.
Yeah.
It's just too expensive. It's not cost effective.
Doesn't make any sense.
Unless they're charging $80 an eighth. They're not making no money, so they're not doing it. Yeah. It's cheaper to buy it on the black market coming out of California or out of, Oregon. But it's not coming from the dispensaries, you dummies. It's coming from the farmers who are growing more than what the dispensaries can take. That doesn't mean make the farmers grow less. That just means leave them alone. Who cares? It's a plant. If you throw it on the ground, it grows.
That's what plants do.
Most of the time.
Unless you give them Brondo.
Anyway.
It's actually a movie reference I got.
Yay. You finally got something. A movie reference.
It's really music stuff that I don't get. Movie references are not. I'm just not a person who listens to music, so.
It's just the states are gonna have to come off this sooner or later. It's the so-called legalization that they've done has not gone far enough.
No, definitely not. And I don't know. Like I always thought, like I was always unsure about my support for the legalization, just because it ultimately ends up with money going into, evil people's hands, taxes basically. So without that
going into prison,
legal market,
which is a good thing. But
that would be good. But the way it's been done is they're taking money from taxes. They're stealing money from people.
Yeah,
they still are.
And that's not right.
That's the way it works. All right, anyway, when we get back here tomorrow, we'll have more Great Talk Radio. Don't go anywhere because we got Free Talk Live coming up live from Acapulco.
That's in Mexico.
Right after this. Free Talk Live.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait,